The basement was packed, transformed from a forgotten storage space into the city's underground rap epicenter. The air buzzed with anticipation, cheap beer, sweat, and electricity. Faces glowed under a single harsh spotlight, all eyes on the makeshift stage. This wasn't a polished concert hall. It was raw, where reputations rose and fell on a single verse. The crowd pulsed with excitement, united by the promise of lyrical combat. Tonight, it was J-Rock versus Blaze, two rising stars, each with something to prove. J-Rock, the sharp-tongued poet; Blaze, the magnetic showman. The city had been waiting for this showdown, a battle for respect that meant everything. Chants for both rappers echoed, the room split in loyalty. The DJ dropped a heavy bass line, setting the stage for war. This was their church, the beat their hymn. The stakes were high. One would rise, the other would fall. For outsiders, it might look like bravado, but for those inside, it was a test of wit and courage. Losing meant more than defeat. It meant ridicule, whispers, and a long climb back. Every person in that room understood what was at stake. They weren't just spectators, they were judges. The atmosphere was electric, the tension almost unbearable. The battle was about to begin. The rivalry began online, not on stage. A single post from J-Rock sparked it, a fan's comment comparing him to Blaze. Blaze fired back with a jab at J-Rock's style, and the feud ignited. What started as friendly competition quickly turned bitter. Insults spilled from rhymes to personal attacks, broadcast for all to see. Friends and fans fueled the fire, sharing memes and picking sides. Social media rewarded the drama, amplifying every slight. Blaze posted outside J-Rock's apartment. J-Rock leaked embarrassing photos. The feud became a public spectacle, impossible to escape. Notifications buzzed non-stop, each one raising the stakes. The battle was no longer about music, it was obsession. The online crowd demanded a real confrontation. The narrative needed a climax, and the pressure was immense. J-Rock and Blaze were trapped, pushed by thousands who wanted a fight. The digital world had set the stage for a showdown. In underground rap, reputation is everything. Clout is earned through skill, authenticity, and defending your name. For J-Rock and Blaze, maintaining that image was a full-time job. Any sign of weakness could end a career. The pressure came from fans, rivals, and within. Their dreams depended on victory. A loss could shatter everything. The line between performance and reality blurred. Aggression on stage seeped into real life. Backing down meant humiliation. The upcoming battle was a referendum on their identity. The weight of the crown was crushing. The night of the battle, the basement was a powder keg. The crowd split, J-Rock's crew on one side, Blaze's on the other. No neutral ground, only loyalty. J-Rock took the stage first, hands trembling, rhymes sharp and intricate. He attacked Blaze's authenticity, staying within the rules. His supporters roared. Blaze stormed the stage, skipping metaphors for direct personal attacks. He named J-Rock's girlfriend, mocked his family. The crowd gasped. The line was crossed. The battle turned vicious, personal. J-Rock, angered, dropped his poetic style for raw rage. He exposed Blaze's criminal record. The mood shifted from excitement to unease. The fun was gone. Danger filled the air. The DJ's beat only heightened the hostility. The battle was no longer about skill, it was about humiliation. The room felt ready to explode. The verbal war teetered on the edge of violence. Everyone sensed what was coming. The stage was set for disaster. The final round was pure fury. J-Rock's verse was a threat, not a rap. Violence, revenge, payback. His crew mirrored his anger, fists clenched. The performance was gone, only raw emotion remained. The crowd stopped cheering for skill, reacting to threats. Blaze laughed off J-Rock's anger, pacing like a predator. His final verse attacked J-Rock's manhood, ending with a thrown mic. "This is my city," he shouted, a challenge to all. The tension was suffocating. The host tried to call it a draw, but chaos erupted. The crowd split, shouting and arguing. The event spiraled out of control. Organizers watched helplessly as hostility took over. The words had done real damage. J-Rock and Blaze stood on opposite sides, crews circling. Violence felt inevitable. There was no way to back down. The organizers shut it down, lights off, crowd out into the alley. Tension followed. J-Rock's and Blaze's crews squared off under a street lamp. Arguments escalated, shoving began. The verbal battle became physical chaos. J-Rock and Blaze faced off, screaming, insults now just hate. Friends tried to intervene, but anger won. J-Rock pushed forward. Blaze pushed back. The scuffle exploded. It was no longer about music, just rage. In the chaos, Blaze reached into his jacket. A flash, a sharp sound, final and irreversible. Silence fell. J-Rock stumbled, clutching his chest, then collapsed. Panic erupted, people scattered. Blaze stood frozen, weapon in hand, then ran. J-Rock's friends rushed to him, desperate. The battle was over, a life was lost. The music had stopped. The official story was simple, a fight, a death. But the hip-hop community saw the deeper tragedy. Warnings had been ignored, older heads tried to intervene. Blaze had carried a weapon for weeks, scared but hiding it behind bravado. J-Rock became obsessed, fueled by online hate. The legal battle mirrored the divided crowd. Self-defense versus cold-blooded murder. Online, the debate raged. Did words justify violence? The community was torn, forced to confront hard truths. The real loss was deeper than headlines, a sense of regret and confusion. Hip-hop's aggression and competition had contributed to disaster. The scene was haunted by what happened. The music didn't stop, but it was quieter. The tragedy lingered in every beat. The shadow of that night changed everything. The cost was more than anyone expected. J-Rock's death forced hip-hop to reflect. Who's responsible when performance turns real? Artists, fans, or the culture? Some called it a tragic anomaly, defending battle rap as art. Others argued the culture must address its darker side. Hypermasculinity and violent lyrics can't always be dismissed as performance. Critics called for change, more community, mentorship, and peace. The debate raged on, questioning hip-hop's soul. Can competition and compassion coexist? The tragedy became a cautionary tale. The questions lingered, long after the headlines faded. Years later, the basement is silent, Blaze in prison, J-Rock a memory. The story is legend, its lessons echoing. The tragedy is a reminder. Words and choices have real consequences. Pride and public pressure can push conflict beyond control. The digital world amplified the hostility, making peace impossible. Every post, every comment added pressure. The story is about choices, escalation, threats, cheering violence. The final, tragic choice, bringing a weapon to a war of words. Culture creates pressure, but individuals choose their actions. The echoes of that night are a permanent warning. We must consider the power of our words and the cost of unchecked competition. The story is more than a rap battle gone wrong. It's a lesson in the fragility of life. The music plays on, forever tinged with sadness.